Hello friends, this is Wendy, and I like to turn little golden books into scrapbooks. I don't sell my scrapbooks, but they're for me, but I like to kind of share ideas. It also helps me to be able to get off the sofa, turn off the TV, and do something productive, right? So anyway, I mean, to get things done, right? Because I take thousands and thousands of photos, and I have all kinds of books in mind, and yeah, I need to do that. So I had a follower ask a question, and so I wanted to answer it. My flips, I almost always do them like this. I have done them where they would be inside like that. I do have a few like that. I actually don't like the way that works as much, but I kind of like to tell a story with my flips. So this one does not follow that rule. But I will show you. I have journaling in here. And I made this like this so that, because I didn't want that to be hidden. And then when I pull out, see, this says 5 February, right? And this is February 5th also. So then when I go here, I generally put the dates down, but this also is the 5th of February. But time-wise, well, this really has no real time. And this I didn't put. But this came first, and then we went on the Skyliner. There we go. Oh, as I knock everything over. And then we went out for ice cream. So now this is going out for ice cream. And this is, so this was still the 5th of February, and this is the 6th. And this is also the 6th. And now I'm telling a story. And this is like page 1 of my story. And right here is page 2. I guess that's really not very clear. I probably could put like 1 and then 2 here. However, if somebody reads this and then opens it and then reads that, they'll get that. Anyway. And then this all tells the same story. And then this actually, so here's now some more journaling, and the story goes on. So now we're on another day. And now this is the 7th of February. And this is also part of the 7th of February. Did I mark it down? Yes, I did. Okay, so it's marked right there, February 7th. But as you can see, this tells a very specific story of the Mary Blair mural at the Contemporary Resort. So that makes sense, right? Because it wouldn't make sense to put it this way. It won't even go that way. I think I hurt my book. Anyway. And then we move on to the next story. And this continues on this same story of Pandora. Not the drummers, but I will continue the Pandora story there. And then this is the one we finished. So my next flip page, though, is going to start with being back home after our Disney trip. So I wanted to share that. And now we will move on to my next project after I clean my desk. Okay, so I cleaned my desk, well, at least right here. All right. A friend of mine, Tammy, and we are going to meet neighbors. Well, and I don't just mean like the people across the street and down the road. You know, a larger community of people that we live around. And when we were discussing this and when we were going to do it, and we're kind of excited about getting out of our comfort zones and out of our houses and meeting people. And I said, I'll make cards or a tag. And she says, that'll be great. And I was like, well, what should I make? Cards or tags? And she goes, I don't know. And I said, well, what would you rather receive, a card or a tag? I don't know. She's not a crafter. And I was like, huh. And so I went on, should I even do it? So this is the thing. And I have actually had this happen. Put a lot of time, energy, and I make a card and I send it to somebody who really is like, okay, or I don't understand it, or, you know, I mean, so I went on Google first and like, should I even make a card? Oh yes, a card is a really nice gesture. Okay, so I should make a card. And I have these, but should it be a card or a tag? I got these, I think I got them at Joann's, which doesn't exist anymore, but they were on sale and I bought multiple packs. Anyway, so I wanted to know, should I do a card or a tag? And I went to 2 different groups that I am on Facebook, and I got all kinds of answers. So as I am trying to make this background, I will continue to explain. So earlier today, I was watching Alison Balmer, and she was doing this technique, and I decided to try it. By the way, I bought all of Tim Holtz, yes, they're Tim Holtz, watercolor pencils, which I really like, and I just put them in the Ranger color chart order. You know, I removed them all and put them all in that order. So then I have the yellows and then the browns all together because we're going to do honeycombs. And the reason I'm doing honeycombs is because we live in the Beehive State. And here in the town I live in, the high school and middle school mascot is a bee. Not a cute little sweet bee that you would see, I don't know, on a cute little card or whatever. They're killer bees, you know. They're like, you know, they have boxing gloves on and, you know, anyway. So I saw this, Alison Balmer do this, and I have 2 different honeycomb stencils, and I'm just gonna play. So I went on these groups, and many said make a tag because it could end up going on the fridge. So then some said make a tag and put a magnet on it, and others said people will use it for their, like, as a bookmark. And I thought, well, I don't read books anymore, you know, hardcover books anymore. I read off of a Kindle. So a bookmark, if somebody gave me a bookmark, well, being me, I would put it on my refrigerator because I've got all kinds of stuff on my refrigerator. Okay, we'll see how this is going to go. I'm going to go a little darker. Anyway, so there was that, and then one person said, and this is my main reason for switching to definitely a card. She said that she has friends that are not crafters, and they don't understand when she gives them a tag, or one of those little interactive books like a lot of us like to make, or, you know, she with tags and folds and flips, you know, and so I was like, you know, I've actually had that happen to me as well, that people didn't. So what is this, and what am I supposed to do with it? And I don't understand. It's like, you know, who are you and how are you my friend, right? No, not really. But I'm probably doing this. I'm not doing it exactly the way Alison Balmer did it. But this is going to be play. Because that's the other thing. Another person said, I think I'm going to start to do the play part. See how this worked. One of the things that another person said was that there is always the possibility that you're going to take time making this tag or card, and the person you give it to is not going to appreciate it the way you wish they would, and the next thing you know, they have thrown it away. And so you want it to be something that you don't mind that they throw it away. So don't put a lot of time into it or whatever. And, that turned out interesting. Not completely sure I like it. So I'm going to try something a little different for the next little bit. I'm going to do something that I already know that I like. So I decided, well, maybe what I want to do is have some fun and play. So my thought was, if I make this easy, and I kind of want to make, well, this piece of paper will make 4 card fronts to go on here. And then I can decide afterwards whether I want to go this way or this way. But I think I'll start with Distress ink. Maybe I'll do one of these with Distress ink and the other one with Distress oxide. So hard to know, right? I like doing the stencils with these brushes. I think they're makeup brushes. I did get them on Amazon. And they make a more precise, it's not as blurred edges, right? Of course, this one I did over here is very blurred edges, but I'm going to do other things. So 2 things. So I'm going to make 4 cards at one time. Well, 4 backgrounds. I don't know what I'll do with the rest of it. But so this is Squeeze Lemonade. And let's do some fossilized amber. Oh, yeah. Do that next. This is also the ink. I'm just going to do some. Okay, just do some. And definitely some wild honey. And I guess I'm going to, when I'm done, I'll spritz them. Another good color to go in here would be, where is mine? Vintage Photo. Let's see what this looks like. See, personally, and this is personal preference at this point, I like this better than that. But you know what I don't like is that I left this little area here undone. So let's go here. And we'll just see how these turn out with cards. I have seen other people do it, including Louisa Heinzel. She didn't do it exactly like this. She did different things. But, you know, maybe I'll go somewhere here, right? I'm going to make it a little more wild honey. You know what I'm going to do? Now I'm going to do the same thing with, I'm going to move this here so it blends over better. And I'm going to do the oxides. So let's start with squeezed lemon oxide. Let's see what happens. Anyway, so I figured if I do this as playtime, right? This is going to be all play. Then if they take my card that I had fun playing with and they throw it in the trash, I'm not going to cry. Right? It's not going to faze me one bit. I'm going to say, yeah, that's fine. It was just a fun play. But it really makes sense to me to protect my little heart here and know that there is always the possibility that whoever I give a card to, especially, okay, so these are people I really don't know. We've met them, but we don't really know them. And we had this little gathering last Sunday on somebody's yard. And I was really worried that this would not be well received. But the first person that we contacted, my friend and I contacted, was so thrilled that we're we want to come over and get to know her better, that I think this is going to go over really well. So I had the idea then of doing beehive kind of a thing, and because we're in the beehive state, and we used to be in the Tar Heel state, and we've also been in the land of Lincoln state. We've lived in the Hoosier state. My father is from the Buckeye state. And, oh, we lived for a long time in the last frontier state. So what state are you from, and what's your state saying, whatever, motto? Okay, I am going to spritz this and see what happens. Let's see, I don't have any photos around that this will harm, so I guess I'll just do it right there. So for me, I did not like the watercolor pencil through the stencil like that. I've done other things with watercolor pencils and stencils that I did like, but I did not like it through this. Now, should I do, make sure it dries, but should I do a Louisa Heinzel thing where she puts words through the stencil? This is 49 in Market, and these are nice and tiny. I think I will start with some of these. What do you think? You know, again, this is play, right? So do I really need to worry about whether I want to do the whole thing like this or not? I'm thinking no, I don't. I don't need to worry. I also don't want to go too crazy with my whole mixed media kind of a vibe, since people may or may not like it, right? But again, this is my play, and so I should enjoy my playtime, right? I'm going to pull this one out. And I thought about going this way with it. So again, this is Playtime with Wendy. But I saw some other ideas that I want to try as well. Let's do this here. Okay, that looks really cool. So far, what I like the best is right here. So I think I am going to kind of continue on with that through the rest of this. Okay, so I got started making these. This one I almost sort of finished. I don't dislike it, but I don't like it. So I'm going to set this one aside. Then I was looking at this one, and I really like it. I mean, remember how I said I didn't really necessarily like that? Well, I really like it. So I'm going to put it on the corners of these four. This still has ink on it, so I'm going to wash that off. Okay, so I'm at a point where I need to make a decision. I have made several of these flowers, and I don't like them. Let me try this here. I don't know why I don't like them. I just don't. So this one was the first one that I finished. Well, it's obviously not finished because it's not glued down onto the actual card front. And I probably am going to ink around the edge, probably with black. Now, as much as let's go here. I think I like this better. Okay, so this ended up making 5. And I just had a tiny little bit that was left over. A couple of things that I learned from doing this, and I'm going to do differently next time because I'm sure we're going to be visiting more than just 5 people. I would keep the background very light colored. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with it other than me. But these darker ones in here, I don't like it. It makes it harder to stamp over it and make, So that's just me. This was another one. And this one, because it actually was this way. But I'm turning it this way anyway. I would make it so neutral that there would be no direction to it. This one, okay, let me just explain why I switched. First of all, actually, now that I look at it, I don't dislike it as much as I did. But I don't like it as much as I like this. There's something about the yellow and black and the bees that I really, really like. If I had made it all a lot more colorful, I think that would have been better. And I used these, all came from one set. Let's find it. So I used these 3 from Wildflower Stems #1. And then I also used this mixed media. And for this one, I used the Funky Florals Large. And I actually, see, I love this flower, and I love this leaf, and I love them together, and I didn't love them on here. So I don't know. It was just, and maybe you'll say, oh, but that was my favorite one. Well, sorry. Anyway, but there is something about that black and yellow and the bee, right? So anyway, and I did put a little saying on the inside, and I signed the back. I'm going to take them over to my friend's house, and we'll sign the insides, and I'll put them in envelopes, and I think I'm just going to put them in envelopes and then pull out whichever one, and whoever gets whichever one they get. And I don't think anybody's going to care other than me. I would tend to obsess going, ooh, does this look more like, Jen, or does it look more like Sydney? I mean, nah. Putting them in envelopes, and I'm going to blindly hand them out. So we'll have already signed them, and boom. Oh, one other thing with why I did the black, and other than I really do like that. This was easier than this. And if I'm going to keep it simple, this was the more simple way to go. And I've been looking through Pinterest, and I found a couple of other kind of easy cards. These weren't exactly totally easy. I mean, I didn't crank them out like lickety split. I did most of it yesterday and then finished them up today. Probably the hardest, most time-consuming thing was figuring out what I really wanted to put down here. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make any comments down in the comment place. I love comments, happy ones especially. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.